Hey guys, welcome back to Mikey's American Dream. For those of you who don't know, this is the one-stop shop journey to showing me and Tasha, having now moved to the US, discovering everything new, like me sitting here with my double extra large big gulp from 7-Eleven because there's one across the street. For those of you who are worried about this, first of all, I know diet soda isn't the best, neither is full sugar soda. This I'm drinking throughout the entire day. I know it's a lot, but it was like half filled with ice, so actually it's not really that much. And Tasha's gonna kill me for drinking this, but I've been drinking this for the last 5 hours or so. I have drank water today, but this is like a new experience for me here in Texas or in the United States. It doesn't exist in the US, in the UK, or really anywhere else in Europe, actually at all. This would give the legislature and lawmakers not a real heart attack like this might, but a heart attack nonetheless. They just try and destroy it as soon as they could. Anyway, so I'm here to answer one really interesting question that I've had multiple, I would say at least 50 people ask me this question already. Oh, I've got a new message on Patreon. If you guys want to message me privately and see, oh, there we go, see more personal stuff, head over to Patreon. I just got another Patreon member, which is really cool. I've got there's like 30 people now. It's a community of us of 30 people. You see lots of exclusive content. Head down to the link below to my Patreon. It's like $5 per month for like the basic access and $10 for a bit more advanced. So you see more when you're on the $10 access. But the biggest question I've had, I reckon so far, is, well, aside from what I do, and I'm gonna reveal that slowly. I've given you a few hints over the last couple of days, but I don't think you'll get it. The biggest question is, how does it feel driving on the right side of the road? So, for all intents and purposes, guys, it is the correct side of the road. The right-hand side of the road is the correct side of the road to drive on. The only countries that use it is the UK and some former Commonwealth countries like India, Australia, Cyprus is one, and it's pretty much just limited to those countries. So how is it driving here on the correct side of the road? Well, I would argue that there is no correct side of the road to drive on. Doesn't really matter. But the system here in the US is much more intuitive than that of the UK. I'd say it's harder to drive in the UK, or harder to drive in Europe generally speaking, because the roads tend to be smaller, more windy, narrower. You couldn't get an F-150 down a country lane in the UK. The country roads here are a lot wider than the country roads in the UK, because they were designed 2,000 years ago by the Romans for horse and carriage, and people to walk down, and then they had no idea cars would exist. So I actually have not found it one bit difficult, and I will tell you why. I'm cheating. I'm not like any other Brit that moves to the UK and struggles with driving on the right hand side of the road. Me and Tasha lived in Dubai before. You guys have seen it on the videos. They drive on the right hand side of the road, and even more importantly, they pretty much emulate the American system of highways and roads. So all roads are essentially straight in the UAE, or in Dubai at least anyway. All roads are wide. In fact, the highway through the center of Dubai is 8 lanes. 8 lanes each side, so that's a 16-lane highway, bigger than what you get here in the US. So they've taken the US model and expanded it. So I learned to drive on the right-hand side of the road there. The first time I ever drove on the right-hand side of the road was in Greece, and I struggled greatly. Like, honestly, really struggled. Kept turning into the wrong lane. It was borderline dangerous. Thankfully, it was a really quiet area. So once I got used to it, it was fine. Just sitting here at my little desk in the hotel room. But driving in Dubai for 5 years, on and off, really prepared me for the US. And since I've got here, it's so easy. I love the turn right on red. That's incredible. I have heard that isn't a thing in New York City though, but they're introducing congestion charge. So if you live in New York City, perhaps either stop driving if you do drive, and maybe just leave the state. Maybe come to Texas, join us in Texas. Many would argue don't bring your politics here, but that's not, anyway. Oh, you don't want to get into politics, not on this channel. That's for Patreon. Check out Patreon. If you want to see politics, Patreon's the one for you. Have a look down below, the link's in the description. But yeah, it is the correct side of the road by proxy. I mean, when I say it's the correct side of the road, just by the sheer amount of countries that use it, every country in the world, aside from a select few like the UK, uses that side of the road. But then at the same time, one would argue that what makes this side of the road correct, because if we're going by that metric, then the imperial system used by the US is wrong, outdated. I would say so. Ounces, pounds. So here's my thing, right? How many ounces to a pound? 16. It's not a round number, it's 16. How many grams to a kilo? Exactly 1,000. How many kilometers how many meters to a kilometer? Exactly 1,000. How many milliliters to a liter? Exactly 1,000. And then you go to like Celsius versus Fahrenheit, which only the US uses. I mean, here's the thing: the imperial system of measurement was created by the Brits, by us, the UK. I don't say us anymore. I can say us. I can say us for both now, I think. But anyway, it was created by the UK, and then it became outdated, especially with the coming of the European Union in the 70s, and then the UK was forced to go into the metric system so it could essentially trade with the European Union. And that's fair enough. But so my generation's all grown up with the metric system over the imperial. Even my parents don't know the imperial system, especially my dad. My dad was raised in Europe until he was like 8, 9 years old. He came to the UK, and by that time, because the EU was already in force, UK was already part of the EU, everyone was using the metric system. And you know, the only thing we didn't change for the system was we still use miles per hour in the UK. So actually miles per hour are easier for me to envision, easier for me to figure out than kilometers per hour. But then the UAE uses kilometers per hour. The rest of the world does. It's just the UK and the US that use miles, which is pretty cool. Oh, Cyprus uses miles per hour as well. Yeah, it does. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Every EU country uses kilometers. So it makes sense. Everything 0 to 1,000. You know, 0 is nothing. 1,000 is, you know, 1 kilo, 1 liter, whatever it may be. Now, saying that, I still understand feet. I still understand pounds. But again, pounds is such an odd number, right? Nonetheless, and then you get to Fahrenheit. My biggest gripe with Fahrenheit is it actually doesn't make sense. So the boiling point of water in Fahrenheit, the boiling point of water is 212, I think, right? And freezing is 32. Whereas you have, if you use water as the metric, freezing in Celsius is 0 and boiling is 100. It's a perfect scale. It's an absolutely perfect scale. Now, the one thing I would say is that Fahrenheit makes more sense when judging air temperature. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Because you're going by feel, you're going by how it feels. So 100 degrees is like 30 something Celsius. 100 degrees is fine. 32 degrees as being cold, that's fine as well. 0 as being very cold, that's fine. But when it comes to cooking food or boiling water or making tea, I just don't think it works. It works, but I think the metric system is better on that one, or the Celsius is better on that one. Nonetheless, it's been 2 weeks. I'm actually getting the hang of it. I use a lot of weights in my job, so I'm starting to understand ounces, pounds, a little bit more. Quarts, I haven't got the hang of yet. That's pretty much it. Fahrenheit, I will use temperature a lot in the job that I do. So Fahrenheit, I'm starting to understand. I now know that 0 degrees Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit, I now know, and that's pretty much it. I know that minus 18 Celsius is 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and pretty much everything there, you know, I know like 115 is 43 Celsius, 113 is 45 Celsius. I know what I need to know, right? And then I know the very hot temperatures as well. So like I think 400 is 180. Anyway, but back to driving on the right side of the road. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not struggling at all. It's much easier. It's much easier having a bigger car. It's much easier driving on the right-hand side of the road. It's much easier being able to turn right on red. Much easier being able to, you know, use intersections apart from roundabout. Intersections are great. The lights change at like the stop lights change at really good timings here. I like how they're on top of the lanes. I like how gas is cheap. I like how I'm not taxed more on having a bigger engine. I can have a V8, I can have a V6, you know, I can have a big pickup truck or a, you know, a Mustang and not be taxed into oblivion because of that. I like not having to pay to drive into the inner city. I like that the roads are wide and driving is easier. The drivers here are much better, I would say. I've had almost no close calls. I think it's because it's more intuitive. The road is essentially straight. If you want to go anywhere, you get onto a freeway or an interstate or a highway. Even the side roads, they're all straight. You want to turn left, you turn left. You want to turn right, you turn right. There's no weird junctions. It's just everything is easy. And you can tell the US is a new country because they've had the opportunity to build it that way. If you wanted to do that in the UK, you'd have to destroy everything and start over again because 2,000 year, you know, London is a 2,000-year-old city. So I much prefer it here. It's much easier. So your final answer to the question is to how am I doing driving on the right side of the road? It is the right side of the road, I will say objectively. I mean, both the right-hand side and the correct side, I would say, because it seems to work better. I don't know if it's the side of the road that works better or if it's simply the system of driving. If you have this system of driving, but on the left-hand side, I think it would also work better. So I like the American system of highways, of roads, and I do. Driving on the right-hand side of the road is indifferent to me. But at this point, I far prefer driving in the US than driving in the UK. That is the final answer to the question. I am assimilating to this country very well. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm starting to feel American by the day, despite the accent and despite my passport. One day that will become a reality. But as long as you guys give me permission, I will refer to us as us, because I think I have embodied what it means. I agree wholeheartedly and fully with the American ideals of freedom and democracy, and well, when the federal government works, it normally does work, doesn't anymore, at the moment anyway. The freedom of expression, the Constitution, I feel like I fully embody those values, and I think that's what truly makes an American. So if you guys will permit me to do so, I will refer to us as us and not you guys and me. So have a great day, guys. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this content, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos, right? And don't forget, check me out on Patreon. It's $5 per month. Some of these guys are out there charging $10, $15, $20, $30 per month just to look at their content. Mine is at the basic level 5. And you know, at $20 per month, if you do choose to pay that, you can give me a call, and at every level, even from the $5, you can send me private messages. We can have conversations, talk about politics, American history, American culture, everything that we can talk about in depth without having to worry about people getting upset or offended. That is what Patreon is. Check me out there. Link is down below in the description. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.